Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marcus Bibbs coming at you guys real quick. I am the creator of this group and wanted to spend some time real quick talking about being a defensive entrepreneur and what that means. I know I've been talking to a lot of people lately, and that term is very different to people, okay? But it's very, very powerful whenever you learn what a defensive entrepreneur actually is. Most people have no idea. Being a defensive entrepreneur, and by the way, this whole group is meant to give people perspective, give people confidence in doing for yourself. It's really meant to just empower people in a time where people need empowering. You know what I'm saying? We weren't taught in school to do for ourselves. We really only taught to, go to school, get the education, get a job. And then when a pandemic hits or when things hit, because pandemic is just one thing, but when family things hit and we need more income or we need more time, those are the two things that, those are commodities that we don't have. This is really meant to help people understand just different elements that will help you do for yourself. Today's session is really about being a defensive entrepreneur, or even knowing what defensive entrepreneurship is. And so I'm going to get into that. So being a defensive entrepreneur is creating for yourself, but keeping the stability of a strong active income. There's two types of income. You have active income, you have passive income, right? Passive income is what you see most wealthy people have, or mailbox money. They do things and it creates a steady stream of income. They write a book, they're paid for the book the rest of their life. They make a movie, they pay for the movie the rest of their life. They make a song, they pay for the song the rest of their life. Those are passive income streams that they create. And you have people that create multiple, right? The average millionaire has about 7, right? But here's the thing: being an entrepreneur is scary to most people because they think that they have to quit their job, or they have to get a really big bank loan, or they feel like they have to go basically ask people for money in some other way because, one, most people don't have the time to really do or create for themselves, and two, people don't have the finances and the money to create for themselves. And so what you find is people are scared or just not knowing exactly what it takes to get something done for themselves or build for themselves. And so being a defensive entrepreneur is doing something for yourself, creating something for yourself with the stability, without losing the stability of having a job. Having an active income is vital in terms of creating, in the 21st century, creating a company or creating an asset for yourself. Okay, so that's the main point of us talking about being a defensive entrepreneur, is realizing that, one, I don't have to quit my job to do more for myself or create for myself. Two, it's people are scared. People don't understand how to do for themselves, how to create for themselves. And when you look at how things were done back in the 20th century, how businesses were built, how companies were created, all of that is, that's old school now. 21st century revenue sharing is massive. Uber is one of the biggest it's the biggest taxi cab company in the world. They don't own any taxis. So we live in an information age. Biggest hotel company in the world doesn't own hotels. Airbnb. It's all revenue share based. It's all based on 21st century information age foundations. And so when you think about a person doing more for themselves, most people think about going and get a storefront. When I quit my job in 2015. I quit my job at Sprint. It was a good paying job. I was doing really well. I already started my family. We had 2 kids, the house we have now. We had all that. I quit my job, and it's because of how I thought companies were supposed to be built. I quit my job because I knew I was going to have to put a lot of time and a lot of money into what I was building. And the thing was, I had no resources outside. I was just going to create everything. And it wasn't until I was properly educated on what the 21st century actually offers, how wealth is actually built. There's books, there's different things that I started to leverage that it kind of opened my eyes to what a defensive entrepreneur really was. Because right now, when you have a job, your job is your job. That's really what it is. You spend time there, and they give you a paycheck every 2 weeks, every quarter, whatever your pay structure is, every week, 2 weeks, quarterly, whatever, right? So that's what your job is meant to be. And people think to build for yourself, you have to quit. You have to focus on just building for yourself. Well, being a defensive entrepreneur, what that literally means is you have your job, you have that income coming in, and you take that income, and that is your seed money. That is your angel investor. My wife, Norma, she's absolutely brilliant. And she always says, whenever we're talking to somebody or whenever she's having a conversation with a friend and she brings up being a defensive entrepreneur, it literally is, well, who's your angel investor? And they don't know what she's talking about till she explains it. And that basically is, what's your job? Right now, people's jobs are what they think of, and then they think of like a side hustle. In reality, the side hustle or the company that you're trying to build for yourself and do for yourself, that's what's going to take care of your family the rest of your life, not the job. The job is just there to give you and stabilize you as you build the company or build the baby, create the baby, feed the baby. The baby's going to take care of you long term. So being a defensive entrepreneur, it literally just means that whatever you're doing, you find time to still have an active income so that you don't have to pull from your profits of what you're creating, right? I have a 4-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 10-year-old, my wife and I don't expect them to produce in the house right now. My 10-year-old just started washing dishes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting her to really keep the house together because it's going to look like a pigsty if that's the case, right? She's not ready. She's not prepared. We're constantly putting money into her development, her program she wants to be a part of, her happiness, her emotional development. We're putting money into her so that she can be successful and do what she wants to do to where we don't have to do that anymore. It's the same thing. Being a defensive entrepreneur is literally doing for yourself, but not neglecting the idea of I still need an active income while I build my passive income. It's just, think about strategy. Think about old school business versus new school business. New school business is taking the resources that your job gives you, what it teaches you, of course, the financial piece of it, and taking that money instead of saving it or just spending it. Because here's the thing, most people have a job, they take the money from their job and they spend it on whatever they want. But guess what? Money runs out, they have to go back and make more money. How does society teach you how to make money? Spend time for it. I spend time for money. Once I have the money, I go buy stuff, or I try to save some. Guess what? Inflation eats that away. Every 10 years, inflation doubles. So the dollar back in 1980 is not the same dollar as it is today. $1 million back then is not $1 million today. And we have more things that we pay for. So when you think about, it's just smart to create for yourself, right? This is beyond us talking about, should you do more for yourself? Should you build something for yourself outside of your job? The answer to that is absolutely yes. Obviously, especially if you have kids, or like for me, it's an absolute yes, because my job is not going to give me the lifestyle that I want, and it doesn't give me the platforms that I want yet. Okay, so that's just plain and simple, in my opinion, right? But here's the thing. Now, where does my job fit into the building of my own company? Where does my job fit into? I used to be against jobs. I used to be that guy that's like, man, I hate my job. I can't wait to be free. I can't wait for financial freedom. But really, one, it's a really self-destructive and not a positive mindset. When you create for yourself, when you're building a company, so many negative things happen that you cannot be negative. You have to push through and be positive in order to make it, okay? The ups and downs of building your own company are there, right? If you're negative, you're going to wash out. So I had to see everything in my life as a resource, everything in my life as a resource. And what that means is I had to see my job as a blessing and as the stability piece, my angel investor, as my wife puts it, my angel investor to have seed money to build my company. I don't have to pull profits from a company I'm building. I want my profits to far exceed my active income so that when I want to go do stuff, when I want to go take a trip, or want to go to a different country and speak, or I want to just take a month or 2 off and go to a beach. You know, if it's cold, the 2 weeks gets cold in Texas, I can go to Florida, I can go to Hawaii, I can do what I want. And that's because when I was younger, or like now, I was using my seed money from my active income. I was using that money to establish my financial structure in a more strong way and scaling it without taking profit. You know, and so until I was so profitable, I can keep from it. So my wife just walked away from work in January, and that's all we've been doing. We literally have been taking our active income for the last 4 or 5 years, taking active income and establishing our financial structure, building our assets, and producing more cash flow to where she walked away in January. She doesn't have to, our 3 kids don't have to see mommy go back to work anymore. And it's based on this philosophy. We are defensive entrepreneurs. We did not neglect our job, right? When I thought I knew what I was doing, I quit my job and everything fell apart, right? But now that I have mentorship, now that I have resources and tools, now that I have a complete understanding and I'm financially literate, quitting my job was one of the dumbest things I did. Did it put me in a good spot? Yes, it put me in a good spot because I met people that helped me with my resources. But in terms of now, if I would have known being a defensive entrepreneur means have a steady active income so that you can properly establish your cash flow through what you're doing, I would have done that sooner. Maybe I would be financially free at this point. Because at this point, to give you guys an update, about 12 to 18 months from now, I'll be financially independent as well. With the proper parameters, proper financial structure for me to walk away from work. And then I'm going to get into other things I want to do, other intellectual property projects. I have 5 books I want to write now. I have a school I want to create that teaches entrepreneurship K through 12. So, I mean, all that ties into me getting financially independent, but I did it, or I'm in the process of doing it by being a defensive entrepreneur. So just to recap with you guys, I want to reassure you that whenever you do for yourself, make sure that you're not taking profit. Most people wash out of entrepreneurship and they go back to full-time working for other people. Here's the thing. If you're working for somebody else, make it benefit you. Build for yourself, create for yourself, establish yourself. Don't take from the profits from that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Let it grow to where it's a company, to where it's sustainable and it's alive and well, and then walk away from the job. Your job is your angel investor. Your job is your angel investor that allows you to do for yourself. And really, I'll be completely honest, that was not really the case back in the 20th century. Back in the 20th century, it was very hard to, having 2 jobs is one thing, but building a company takes a whole lot of bandwidth, and trying to become profitable sooner than you should be is difficult. I know because I did it. When I quit my job, I was trying to be profitable in the first 3 months of building a coffee shop, building my own app, building a party planning company, building a photography company, and looking into real estate investing. I was doing all that, and I had quit my job, no income, and it got so stressful. When you are a defensive entrepreneur, you keep your active income and you start to build your company around that. That way, you don't have any issues with paying bills or any financial stress, but you are building your future. So being a defensive entrepreneur, it's actually very empowering. And this whole group is meant to give you tools, resources, mindset. And I mean, feel free to reach out to me. I've been having conversations with people, giving people perspective on things. Like this is a time when young people who have built success should be giving back in certain ways. And this is really my way of doing that. So, and other people posting in this group as well. There's other people starting to post in this group as well. Of course, we want to make sure everybody's credible in what we're posting and what we're helping people with. That's the point. But being a defensive entrepreneur, it's really just about being smarter, but really being long-term minded. Not flash in the bucket. Man, I'm looking to, do something for myself and it's going to take 6 months to get it off the ground. No. You got to be willing to take that money, and now your income is not just save it and spend it. Now that income that you make at your job is now seed money for your future. And so just want to give you guys this perspective. I actually love doing these videos. I love the feedback I get from them. People hitting me up, people asking questions. Like, this is what we do. This is not, obviously this group isn't all we do. My wife and I, this is just another avenue to help people really have the guts and the backbone to do more for themselves. And if we can give resources, tools, perspective, mindset, this is meant to be a 15-minute video, 15-minute clip. And I'm going to do maybe one of these a week to help. But, and also feel free if you want to add people to this group that you feel like it would add value to them or give them perspective. Feel free. If you feel like it would help, awesome. If you don't feel like it would help, forget it, So, but that's being a defensive entrepreneur. Your job is now your angel investor. It's not just your job anymore. Now it's your angel investor. That's how your job fits into the broad scheme of you creating more for yourself. And then 2, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, you can walk away from that job and say, hey, thank you for everything you did. But now I make 4 times more than what you guys are paying me my salary, and I'm going to go live on a beach somewhere. So hope this makes sense. Let me know if you guys need anything, and you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. Peace.